When I signed up to be a game tester, I never thought I'd be in the game. But while I'm here, I might as well let you know that you can save on renter's insurance with the Geico Insurance Agency. Because you never know when you'll need it.
Renter's insurance at geico.com.
It's with the Geico Insurance Agency. Because you never know when you'll need it.
Renter's insurance at geico.com.
It's with the Geico Insurance Agency. Because you never know when you'll need it.
Renter's insurance at geico.com.
It's with the Geico Insurance Agency. Because you never know when you'll need it.
Renter's insurance at geico.com.
Geico Insurance Agency. Because you never know when you'll need it.
Renter's insurance at geico.com.
So much cooler out here. It's like 100 degrees in my bed.
Dude, it was the same way in mine this morning.
Holy shit.
So,
It was
yeah.
so hot. I wasn't out of line last night at all, was I?
No.
Okay.
No.
I just want to, double check, make sure. I was fucking. Were you back by that, that little playground thing that we were sitting on? You know what I'm talking about? Were you back there when I was talking to Scott and Sarah about crazy shit?
I'm not sure. I'm live, by the way.
Oh,
So.
sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just letting you know. So.
Are you just streaming it on Twitch or what?
Yeah, I'm just doing drill writing. The band director that I'm writing for is gonna hop on here in a second, and so that we can kind of talk about what's going on.
Cool.
Yeah, looks like he hasn't seen the link yet, but should be shortly. When did this thing get so tiny? Why is this so tiny? Oh, why is it what? Oh God, I'm stupid. It's just over here.
Oh, it's streaming.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is this?
There we go. We're good. All right. I should pull up a score. Hey Tyler, I see that you are in and watching. Is everything coming through okay? Actually, it might just be easier if you call because I'll be seeing your messages delayed a little bit, just because of the nature of the streaming service. Oops, is S3. What am I missing? Am I missing any woodwinds? I don't think so. Jeez, trumpeto. I need to get a boom thing, mic stand, so this can get like actually up close enough to my face to where it's actually supposed to be. Otherwise, it just sounds like I'm too quiet. Generally speaking.
All right, take off.
All right, later, man. Have a good day at work.
Yeah, you too.
Mellow. Is there anything? Okay, good. Glad you can hear. If you see that there are two people watching the stream, it's because I also have a browser open with the thing. So I can just to make sure that I can see it real time and that all as well. So I'm just getting a little key put together here for what the numbers or what the drill numbers mean. Just a little legend, tone, and then tuba is U. Well, sorry. Let's see. And then G is guard. So we'll keep that. Oops. No, stop. I hate it when I do that. I think half the time that I write, it's just redoing things that I've done because I accidentally click out instead of hit accept or enter. Okay. So, oops. Better mirror placement. Got it. And you're cool that they go out like to splitting the 30-35. That's not gonna. My only concern is that it might cause issues when we're moving the mirrors. Are we still planning on moving them at some point in time? Berry. Trumpetoes. Mellophones. Move them right after the big hit during the first piano solo. So, would you prefer then at that big hit that we kind of have like a company front type of situation, going on in front of the mirrors? Because I just feel like we need the members to be close enough to the mirrors in order to move them wherever we need them during the piano solo. Or I don't know. I guess it's a pretty long piano solo, so I guess they could technically run to them. It just might not be as elegant of a transition if they aren't placed close to the mirrors. And really, just because these mirrors are 8 off the front sideline, it doesn't give us too much room for creative movement around here. Not creative movement, but like there are only so many things I can do in front of the fronts, or in front of the mirrors, because we only have 8 steps of space to work with, especially when the guard is already there. I'm just not exactly sure where I want to move them, or what, like how I want to treat the guard. Push the mirrors back 4 steps. Spread the guard out every other mirror across the field, so 8-step intervals. Every other mirror. Okay, yeah. We can do that. Splendid. I guess we'll be accurate. Except, yay, we have it. Let's get our handy dandy. No, not line tool. No, I don't want line tool. Go away, line tool. We want not lasso. That's what we want. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I don't want the mellophone in there too. We do need the lasso. Lasso these guys and lasso these guys. Boink. More space in front of them to fit the guard wins during the big hit. That makes sense. So if we go every other mirror, we can use our line tool to, well, we'll see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 8 guard. We have 14 mirrors. Okay. So we don't quite have enough guard to go every other, right? Because we would need 16 mirrors to go every other. Or we could just space them out a little bit more. Well, let's move the mirrors first, and we'll get to the guard. We'll get our prop tool. Move these up 4 steps. Keep the first 2 guard next to the mellow. Yeah, we can do that. We can make that happen. I'm just going to make this happen quick, just so that we can have some space to work with here without complicating props. Also looking for, okay, first of all, these props, just as an FYI, are slightly bigger than the dimensions that you gave me. I don't know if there's actually a way that I can change this, like in terms of like the geometry of it, but these props are roughly 2 steps across the field, which is bigger than the 36 inches. They're 45 inches according to this, rather than the 36. So they're 9 inches longer than your actual props are going to be. So keep that in mind. We actually have a little bit more room to move people in between them than what might appear on the simulation. I don't think the height is probably relevant, but they're on this thing they're like 3 yards tall. So that's like 90 inches, or 90 inches instead of 80. So they're a little taller and a little bit longer than they should be. The little black box, there's not a really good image that simulates what a grand piano would look like. So that little black box on the front sideline on the 50 is our simulated piano for right now. Okay. So we are now 12 steps off the front sideline, and then let's grab. No, we want this tool. Oh no, because we wanted to lasso them, right? So these guys, and then okay, they were right here, but we want to keep G4 and G5 next to this here mellophone, correct? So, and we wanted the mellophone like behind this mirror, technically, right? I think. Okay, so for now, or do we want G1 to be like at the furthest out mirror? So we can go like here, space, here, space, here, like this. Okay, yeah, I think that's the way we have to do it if we're gonna, oops. And then we go here, here. Like that with the guard, sweet, sweet. G5, wait, why did I, G6, G7, G, oh, okay. Just for consistency's sake, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I have 8, 7, 6. We just need to invert this. Flip, right? No, flip. There we go. Awesome. So we have all the numbers lined up correctly. Guard is good. And then really it's just a matter of, do we still want the winds hiding behind each of the mirrors? And then do we want them doing some sort of like, well, okay. If we, why am I not getting any audio? I'm not muted, am I? I'm here? I don't think so. My OBS. Oh, there we go. So I have that as a standstill for right now, the first 16 counts. So our transition from page 1 to page 2 would literally just be mellophone solo and maybe some guard choreography going on right there for count, or for measures 1 through 4. Wait, best way to chat with you. Do you want to do Skype or Google? Probably easier since the audio is delayed. Yeah, either or. Google might actually work better just because I think we both have Google accounts. So, Google Hangout. It looks like we have been in a Google call before, so I think it's just a matter of starting one up. Hey, how's it going? I do not have, can you hear me?
It's still like ringing.
Oh,
Hold on
weird.
a second. Okay, I think we're good.
Can you hear me? Hmm.
I think what's happening is I'm hearing both of your things in the Twitch and in the.
Oh, got it. Got it. Yeah, that that's gonna be a little disorienting. You might want to just mute Twitch.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, that'd be great. That should work just fine. I'm gonna minimize your face. Not that you don't have a beautiful face, but I also have like a score and a stream thing and a drill page all pulled up here too. So, um, let's see here. So, where was I? What was my question? Oh yeah. So, for the first 16 counts, I have the wins in a basically standing still, and then we have guard doing choreography during the first 16 counts. Does that work? Is that good?
Let me figure out how to mute this quick.
Okay.
Okay, I think I got it figured out now. Are you hearing me just fine?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I think we're good. So I'm thinking it'd be, what if we put a win player in front of the other mirrors, like between the guard? Miranda and I were talking about having the guard like do a little dance, like during the first segment of the horn solo, and then the winds like replicating that. So like the winds, I mean, it obviously there would only be like what 1, 2, 6 wind players, and then the rest of them behind the mirrors.
I think that could be cool too, because we could have instances where like the wind players are dancing in front of a mirror or like replicating what the guard's doing, and then if they step, for instance, a step outside of the mirror, then you can also have a wind player take a step from behind the mirror, and so that you can kind of like, you know what I'm saying, you almost have like mirroring on two different levels.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. The thing we have to consider is, do we want their instruments in their hands while they are with the guard, or do we want their instruments behind the mirrors until...
I think if we put the 6 wind players in front of the mirrors, they could just keep their instrument behind the mirrors for the time being, and then maybe they could go back behind it before they all come out and grab their instrument.
There's also we could also do something too where, so is the guard going to have equipment here, or is it just dance?
I think it's just going to be dance, so maybe
Okay.
the guard equipment is behind the mirrors too.
Okay.
In a way.
And again, the only reason I ask about that is I just don't know, like, because if we had, for instance, if we had flutes and clarinets who were in front of the mirrors, it'd be really easy to dance with a flute or a clarinet, but maybe a little more cumbersome if it was like a tuba, or if it was like a saxophone or something like that. But really, I honestly, trumpets and mellophones wouldn't be too hard to dance with if if it's not something like too complicated where they're actually using like their hands to support their weight or anything like that. But if it's all just standing up, then I think that would, I don't know. It just depends. It really is up to you if you want them to be dancing when their instruments behind the mirrors or not.
Yeah, I think if they just had no instruments or things in their hands, that'd be cool.
Okay. Do you want like one particular?
I'm thinking like you have the score in front of you, right?
Yeah. Yep. I got it pulled up right here.
Thinking like from the beginning to A1, like it's just stand still.
Yep.
Just kind of like introducing the mood here, and then A1 to like A2, guard is like doing some type of dance, and then like A2 to A3, the winds replicate that dance in a way, and then at A3, everybody starts kind of moving into position for that first moment at letter B.
One small problem. I do not have an A3 in my score.
Okay. It's every 8 measures, so let's hear. A1 is the beginning of the horn solo, right?
Yep.
Ba-da-da.
Yep.
And then A2 is 8 measures later.
A2 is 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, 8 measures later for me there is nothing, and A2 starts 10 measures later.
Okay, so yeah, let's.
Can you just send me an updated score?
Yeah, let me just send you this one real quick.
Because that, especially since we're just like right at the beginning of this, so like it's probably just, that it's not too much work to just, even if I have to resync the audio, it's better that way. So.
Yeah, let me see here. Let me look at the one I thought I sent you here for a second. Anyway, it's every eight measures there.
Okay. So are you? I guess it would be delayed a little bit. Right now, I have just like very. I kind of anticipate cutting or deleting some of these page tabs. If you look like at the bottom of this, at the bottom of my screen with my click track thing. Okay, I don't know why this thing is like selectively choosing when it wants to actually play the sound or not. I think like when I have OBS open, it's been playing fine. Or not. What's going on? That is so weird. Oh, I think I understand what's going on. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. Oh, I see. Okay, I know what's going on. Because I'm talking to you, my computer is suppressing the background sound so that I can hear you. So I can hear you better. So you are really loud, but my music is really quiet. That's fine. That's good.
Okay, yeah, this one, the one that I thought I shared with you the last time, should be the right score.
I have the 529.17 pulled up. Is that?
Yeah, this should be 621.
Oh, okay.
I believe I shared it with you.
All right, let me pull it up from the drive here.
Otherwise, I can just resend you the link too here.
Oh, did you send it to me via email?
Maybe. I just resent it to you in Facebook Messenger too. If you need.
Yeah, that might just let's. Oh yeah, look at that message from Tyler. Perfect. Open this, and I'm just gonna save this to the Lennox folder really quickly. Cool. Drop this bad boy in here. Okay. Yes, this looks different. So is there a different audio file for this one too? Like, are there any?
Yeah, I think I sent you that one too.
Am I going crazy here? Let me.
Score.
Yeah, so an email, the last thing I got was the 530. The audio file dated 530. And I don't have anything on Drive.
Okay. Let me see here. Let me send you a link. June 22nd. All right. I sent you on Facebook the audio file.
Okay. Let's download.
The score isn't like crazy different, but like those little like A2 and A3, you know.
Uh-huh. Okay, let's throw this in ye old folder here. Throw that there, and then yeah. So there are some differences then in the audio file too. Like it won't sync up if I am not.
There might be like some transition periods where there's maybe like an extra few counts or something.
Oh, okay. Then I'll definitely need to recut this really quick. Bear with me for a second.
No problem.
Cool. So this is 6:21. I have a feeling the opener ends right here, where my mouse is going to be on your screen in like 20 seconds. If I remember correctly. Okay. So we can, let's zoom out a little bit here. Take all of this, copy that, do. Okay, so it is the beginning, and that goes all the way to there. Export. 2017. And this still goes to letter C on the score, correct?
Yeah.
That chunk we just played. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I'm looking at it here. 2017. Well, actually, I'm going to delete these because that just makes life easier. Delete this one. And this one. And this one. Yeah, this one. And this one. And I'm just cutting these this way just so that like it's easier for you. You'll have like a drill sheet for each chunk of the show. That'd just be a little probably easier for you to like teach it in digestible chunks.
Yeah.
Top to C. Saved us in Ogvorbis. We're good. Beautiful. No. And no. All right. Okay. All right, I gotta turn this up a little bit for a second. This is the most fun part about drill writing. Importing.
You tap along with it?
Yep. I'm actually a little surprised that they don't have a better method for this yet. But I suppose, like, any other method's probably prone to errors. Yep, just a lot of spacebar.
I'm gonna go snake some more coffee while you do that.
Alright, sounds good. Awesome. That should work now. Okay, perfect. We're good.
Cool.
All right, yeah. So we have a. Just wanted to make sure that I don't get like 10 pages into writing and then find out that there's a measure in there that's new or something crazy, and then it's like, oh no, now I got to go back and things don't line up. So, although I do believe that audio file is the same. I don't think there were any inconsistencies in there from before, but at any rate, I'm glad that we have that. That I have the most recent score in front of me. Okay, where was it? Okay, so you were saying you want the win players still until, did you say A2 or A?
Well, yeah, me and Miranda had talked about the guard doing the dancing from A1 to A2.
Okay.
And then the wins kind of replicating what they just did from A2 to A3. Or, I mean, it can all kind of be variable too. Like, the wins could be dancing along with the guard too, or whatnot, but...
Well, let's, I'm gonna... So this whole part here, at the beginning... And then right here...
Now the wins.
Yeah. I feel like there needs to be some sort of, once we have the wins do their thing at A2, like from A2 to almost all the way to A3, like, or not all the way to A3, but I think at some point we need to get them like moving a little bit, because otherwise
It's just kind of long.
I just think it just kind of sits there too long, and especially once we start getting those triplet patterns in the
Yeah,
keyboard
that's kind of where the
instruments.
texture changes. So I feel like they could start kind of moving and doing some stuff there.
Yeah, and maybe even like a couple bars prior to that. I don't know. Maybe it just makes the most sense
It
aesthetically to
might.
have them doing it as we enter those triplet patterns.
I think it'd
Um,
be cool if they were backfield marching, and then those two measures before B they turn around,
mhm.
like in front of the mirrors or something.
um, I'm sorry. Where was that again?
Um, so like leading up to the letter B, they're still like backfield marching or facing
Sure.
backfield towards the mirrors, and then the two measures before B, they kind of like turn around, and
Yeah, and we
then
have
them
from that
moment
triplet.
at B.
Yeah, from that triplet pad where we have 8 bars from A3 until B. So yeah, I think that's plenty of time for us to be able to move them in a position to do something there. And they only have from
So I don't know if you want like at letter A2 when the winds start doing the dance in front of the mirrors. Um, I guess yeah, if you want to have the other winds that are like hidden behind the mirrors start moving out too in a
mhm.
way. I don't know.
Do you have a preference for which section should be out in front of the mirrors, or like the ones with the guard? You know what I'm trying to say?
Honestly, yeah, it doesn't matter. Just
I'm
works
leaning towards like
best.
flutes, clarinets, for a couple reasons. One, because their instruments are the lightest. They can probably like if we needed them to march with their instruments, like it'd be the least awkward, the least cumbersome to have to
They're,
hold. The second
yeah,
reason is because flute and clarinet players are generally girls, and there's a higher chance that some of them have some dance background. They might be a little more graceful than say some trumpet players who I don't know if they you
no, I
know
agree. I have two flutes, so they're both capable of doing
cool.
dancing. So that takes up two of the mirrors. And then I have what do we have? Five clarinets,
Yep,
and I can imagine they can all do it.
cool. We
So that's up to
the
you.
only slightly awkward thing about it is that there are 5 clarinets and only 5 clarinets, 2 flutes. So that's 7 total between those two sections, and only 6 mirrors. So I
Hmm.
mean, I hope that one clarinet isn't going to be super like
No, I know exactly who it's gonna be too. Probably.
who the one that's not going to be
Yeah,
participating is. Okay.
She's a freshman, and
Oh, perfect. Yeah, take the pressure off of her a little bit. So these 4 are going to be here, here, and here. And do those line up? C1, C2, C3, C4. Oh, I love it when they order it right the first time. Beautiful. Um, all right, that's good. And then now it's just a matter of organizing these other ones behind the mirror. So what do we have left? We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17 behind 14 mirrors. So most of them are just going to be one per. And then maybe the ones on
yeah,
the ones on the ends, and maybe I guess there's 2 ways I guess I'm trying to think forward a little bit strategically, which would be better to have the ones on the ends be doubled up or the ones towards the center be doubled up. Um, and moreover, what section would be? I feel like we want like sousaphone should probably just have his own mirror for the. You guys use sousaphones, right? Or
yeah,
okay,
yeah. Let's put the Sousa behind his own mirror,
okay,
just for space purposes.
right. And let's put him. We'll say just for now. I'm just gonna Because for whatever reason, this program, like, what if I were to put a member like actually behind the mirror, it hides their drill number, which is kind of annoying. So for staging purposes, I'm going to stage them first and then move them once I have them all staged in the right orientation. And then we'll go. Let's see. So these can we can have alto clarinet, tenor alto, and then tenor bari. Yeah, I think these groupings are fine. Oh, right, but they're not all going to be doubled up. Well, for right now, let's say we'll go two to a mirror on this one, and then we'll go. Oh no, but we wanted this guy. Nah, shoot. This guy. I don't know why I'm doing it this way. This is a dumb way to do it. Let's just use the old line tool. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 mirrors. Perfect. So let's just go here to here. Boom. And just so I'm not losing my mind, let's face their labels up so I can read them. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
What do we got for numbers here? I just want to make sure that you have all the right numbers. You got 2 flutes.
Yep.
5 clarinets.
Correct. I was just looking off of your that thing that you sent, or the
yeah. Thing. What do we have for altos? 2 of them?
We have 2 altos, 2 tenors, a bari.
Okay, yep, that's correct.
And then I think it was, 5 trumpets? Something like
5
that?
5 trumpets.
3 mellows?
3 mellows. 3 baritones.
Yep. And then a
1
tuba.
tuba.
Yep.
Okay, then we're good.
That's what I got. And then, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to lasso this bad boy here. Okay, yeah. I think that's the grouping that I want. So that's all the trumpets and mellophones, and that just leaves baritones left that we need to put in spots. So here to here. Oh, right. From I was like, where's my third mellophone? Duh, soloist. Okay, we're good. And then that just leaves us arranging a few. Okay, I don't actually necessarily like this configuration though. So we might. Tuba needs to stay in his spot. But we might need to condense an alto and a clarinet on the end over here. And then we can move these guys over. And that allows us to move you to here. And then, okay, yeah, I think this is going to work. Let's push you guys here and, oh, why did I not include you? And that way I can just double up a baritone here and a double up a baritone here. Yeah, that should work fine. Okay. What do you think of this configuration here? Well, it might take you a second to see it on your screen. Oh, I don't like that label orientation either because I can't see some of this. Go that way. That's better.
Yeah, that looks fine.
So that way we'll have we'll still keep like brass mostly grouped with brass, and then woodwinds mostly grouped with woodwinds, without there being too much like crazy like section disruption. You know, the one weird thing that kind of seems unavoidable unless we want to move some brass players out in front with the guard is that we have some clarinets and guard on the same side as the brass block, and so we'll have to find a way to eventually get those clarinets back on side with the rest of the woodwinds.
Yeah, I guess that's up to you. I mean, if you want to try to get them together now and just have other people in front of the mirrors, that's fine.
That might be the better option. Like, so and that way we could do like maybe like 3 clarinets and 3 trumpets. So just 3 clarinets on side 1 and 3 trumpets on side 2. And that way it's just once we actually get the ensemble together playing, we still have a way to keep them, with their respective sections for their listening responsibilities.
I wouldn't worry too much about the dancing if that's going to be the case, because they can learn it no matter who they are. Hopefully.
Sweet. Yeah,
We'll figure it out.
Now that I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh yeah, that actually I think would make just way more sense if we. And it's not even that big of a fix. It's literally just, oops, wrong tool. Lasso. So we'll grab you, and we'll grab you. We'll grab you. No, I want what? Get out of here. You. And you. And you. I hate this thing. Well, let's see if are they actually grouped? Did I just group them correctly the first time around? That's the better question. Okay, yeah, so we can just do this. Just push you out a few steps. And then make this way easier by going this way. And then we'll move you into a line like over here for just a hot second. And then we'll move my trumpet people. Oops. Trumpet people. Oh, that was stupid. I just didn't use the line tool. I should set them up the way I want them. Yeah. Cool. So now we have trumpets there, and then we just have to move mellophone, tuba, mellophone over. And I think I want to invert them actually, so that I can get the mellophone or the tuba closer to the low brass. We'll go mellow tuba. Perfect. That's exactly the way I wanted it to happen. Oh shoot, but we want them behind their respective mirrors, right? So we go like mellow, boom, 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 that way, but inverted. There we go. That's what we want. And then that means C4. Yeah, okay, so we'll just have to have like one clarinet on side 2. But that's just, it's way easier to move the one clarinet that's like close to the 50 back to side 1 than it is to move like, 3 members who are in front of mirrors all the way to the back of side 2. So that should be fine. Mm-hmm. And then we just need to move you ladies. I'm assuming they're ladies. Sort of here-ish. No, but we just want that to be a line. Doink, doink. Oh, because it's not going to be a line, actually, though. Just because of how they're grouped. So we'll go doink and doink. And then push you here. Okay, I think that makes sense. So then we have, let's get all of our labels facing the right way here so I can see you. Perfect. So we have alto and then clarinet, alto, tenor, tenor, tenor. So we probably want to move this clarinet over here. Do a little shifting. Sorry, I don't mean, this is just kind of tedious stuff here. I just want everything to be right when we start the show so that we don't run into problems a little bit later. I need to get this push tool synced up to my mouse. Last year I invested in this in a gaming mouse for drill writing purposes, so it has a bunch of extra buttons on it that people usually tie a bunch of their like gaming abilities to or whatever for different games. But I just tied all of these buttons, like some of the most commonly used buttons, to it, so that I don't have to go up and click on all the buttons every time. I can just touch a button on my mouse and it says, "Oh, you're now using the line tool," and it's been awesome. I'm glad that I invested in such a thing. All right, so we have the altos and the altos, tenors, Barry, 3 clarinets, and then clarinet 4. So C5, C2, C3, C4, and C1 is dancing, right? Okay. Do you want just clarinets dancing? It probably just makes sense to have 3 clarinets and 3 trumpets, right? Just like for just purely aesthetic purposes, for visual purposes, to have members of the same section. So I'm thinking that I can just swap like these 3. Crap! Give me that tool.
It can be like whoever's behind the mirror could also be the one dancing in front of it too.
I'm thinking like I'll make these 3 clarinets dancers, and then I'll move flute, clarinet behind. I think that's probably the better way to do it. Just so that we have flute. What am I trying to say? Clarinet dancers are just as good as flute dancers in this instance, right?
Sure.
I think. Okay. Line tool. Flute. And that leaves us with clarinet. And then okay. So C5, C2, C3 dancing, and then I have flute, clarinet back here. And yeah, I think that'll work. And then I'll just move this whole crew. So, and here's another, just a little tidbit. I am going to, you'll see on your screen here in a couple seconds that the performers are going to be 1 step behind the prop. That's what their drill chart's going to read. However, for whatever, on the real view, like the 3D perspective, it's going to show that they're I don't know why it does this, but it's going to show them as standing in front of the props. I think it's a glitch. I don't know what the deal is, but they're actually, when they get their drill charts, it will say 1 step behind, blah, blah, blah. Or rather, it'll say 13 steps behind the front.
Yeah.
sideline instead of
Yeah.
the 11 or whatever that it looks like on here.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, nice, and that keeps my labels facing right outside of there too. So that's sweet. And then we'll just push you guys that way too. One step. Awesome. There. So they are hidden from sight. What do you think of this starting position? Is this what you need? What you want?
Yeah. I think
Awesome.
it looks good.
Awesome.
The thing we have to decide is the mellophone situation here, and how to make the piano player a part of the introduction, but also leave space for the mellophone solo. Like when I was first thinking about it with this black mirror here, is like the piano player would be looking backfield through an open frame at the mellophone player, and that would be her reflection in a way.
Okay.
But that's open for discussion too, as far as that goes. If we want to just keep the mellophone out front, or have that black mirror just be a regular mirror. And then I was also thinking, well, if it's a regular mirror, we could just keep that mirror there for part of the show and move the other ones. I don't know. It's kind of, I'm just trying to figure out how to make this piano player,
not just like, hey, I'm sitting here for
right
30
right.
measures.
I'm sitting here during this beginning, and now I'm going to play this big solo.
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be some type of, I think she has to be out there in a way too.
Right. No, I 100% agree on that one. Is there any way that the guard could interact with her?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's going to be hard for the mellophone player to do anything like engaging with that person. Like, I think the piano player could dance around the mellophone, but I don't know how much we can do in terms of like mirroring between the mellophone without actually like taking away from the mellophone solo, if that makes sense. Because if the mellophone is going to be like, do you want the mellophone in front of that transparent mirror?
Well, that's debatable too. And I mean, it doesn't even have to be a transparent mirror either. It could just be a solid mirror too, like the other ones. And I don't know how it would be if she played her solo facing backfield, facing the mirror, if she had a microphone or something.
What if we stage the mellophone behind, like, so assuming that we keep it transparent, what if we stage that mellophone behind that mirror, and then we have the piano player staged like, say, 4 steps in front of the mirror, or maybe even like, I don't know, 5 or 6 steps in front of it. Like, we can even adjust it depending on, you could even try it like when you're learning the drill and say, 4 steps actually kind of covers up the bell of the mellow, and we need that to project or whatever. And maybe the piano player is doing some sort of dance facing the mellophone that mirrors the mellophone or something, just to kind of like, I don't know. But you see what I'm trying to get at? Like, just so that like that person isn't just extraneous, that person's actually like engaging with the ensemble, and that she's not just very clearly just like a filler until here. Is it a he or a she that's playing the piano?
She.
It's a she. So it's just so that she doesn't look like she's just like extra,
Right.
Is this piano player? How am I trying to word this without sounding like a jerk? Is she?
She's not very fluid.
Is she a thinner person, or is she?
No, she's kind of a husky. Not husky, but she's a normal, but she's not like a dancer or anything.
Do you? Because I'm trying to imagine like what she might be wearing. Do you think it would be appropriate for her to wear like a dress instead of a uniform?
Yeah. I think she needs to be wearing a dress.
Okay, and that might change what the choreography looks like too.
the color's debatable too. Like I keep imagining like a red dress, um,
What
to
about
make her
red?
stand out.
What about yeah? I think that's awesome. What if it's like red? Well, okay, but here's the thing too, because your colors are orange, black, white, right? Like that's the color scheme of your uniform.
Yeah, and the color dress is wearing like a blue colored uniform
Hmm.
this year.
I feel like red. I think red is a great color for a contrast, but since we have accent colors of orange on the uniform, that might,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like that might like clash a little bit.
Yeah,
What if you did like
she
because
could
we're
wear
doing
a
what
she
because we're
could wear a
doing
blue dress.
well, I was thinking either a blue dress or what if you did something that is like a gray or a black dress with some like shiny sequins of some
Yeah,
sort.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Because it's a mirror show, that might translate very well too. You know
Hmm.
that hey, this is like the mirror person. I don't know, but but something that kind of accentuates the show theme rather than just something that stands out.
Yeah,
Because red, like I said, red is nice. I just feel like that might,
yeah, yeah,
especially
yeah,
since we
yeah,
have blue and orange on the field already, that it might kind
yeah.
of clash with that. Like so, either like blue with like a sequined accent, or just like a
Hmm.
gray or a shiny sequined dress. You know.
Yeah,
But again, I don't know.
yeah.
Like I don't know what you know. I literally know nothing about dresses, and I don't know like what looks good on someone who is not slender per se. You know what I mean? Like I think that's maybe more of a Miranda question since she works with guard and
Miranda's
bodies and you know.
Yeah, Miranda's trying to get into this conversation. I tried to invite her on
Oh.
this Google thing. Let me. She just texted me. She said, she goes, "What about a white dress?" You know.
Yeah.
She goes, "Not sure how to become part of this part conversation, but how about a white dress?" Um,
Is she watching the stream right now too?
yeah,
Oh, nice.
I'll try to get her here on Google Voice.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Hi, Miranda. Vicariously through the internet. Do I? I'm wondering if like I have to be friends with her, or if I have to somehow. I feel like that's not the case, but
No, I tried to. Um, Let me see here. Is there a way I can get copy a link to share? Okay, so let me try to copy a link and send it to her.
sweet.
And then maybe she can get in here. Yeah, I guess a white dress wouldn't be half bad either.
Yeah, I have no problem. Well, I mean, like, and it's not my place to have a problem with a dress or anything, but just
Yeah,
I mean, if I'm writing drill for certain effects and things, it's just nice tidbit information to have, I guess, when I'm
yeah.
considering things. So
Okay, so I guess the main question here is like, what do we do with this mellophone player and her, right?
but yeah,
So
yeah. And so I should probably make a drill number. Okay, when you have 8 guard members, right? Is one of those the piano player?
no, one of them is an eighth grader that has limited rehearsal time with us. So she was going to be the one that like is involved in some of this, but like not all of it.
Word. Got it.
So like this beginning, it's cool if she starts out in front of the mirror. That makes 8, which is great because it's even on both sides.
And it rhymes,
Symmetrical.
so you know it's true.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I'm a English person, so I have nerd puns all the time. But
and then like here after this beginning, maybe she could go away for a while, or she could act as an actor. Or
so since we're gonna have our piano player interacting with this opening scene, I'm gonna make a drill number for her.
Yeah, that's
Cause
a good idea.
that's
She
just
may, yeah.
that makes sense to me. Make a what? No, no, go away. No, I want you to. There we go. Symbol X, sure. Let's label you. We'll label you P for piano. So right now you're gonna be just here so that we have you. I'm gonna take great satisfaction in putting a P for piano in the key. Love it. Awesome. Oh, I also meant to do this too. No, go away. Perf. Not gonna lie, writing on a giant computer monitor is so much easier on the eyes than writing on a tiny laptop screen.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's the best. Best investment of my life. Are we still trying to get Miranda in?
Yeah, I sent her a link here, but I didn't get any response yet, so we can just keep forging ahead here.
Okay, sounds good. I'll let you guys take care of that stuff, and we'll start considering. Okay, so I think we can move. Well, okay. The only last things we would need to consider here are placement of mellophone and piano player.
Right.
Do we know what? Like these mirrors haven't been designed yet, right? Like they haven't been made, or have they?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I like the idea of having the one transparent mirror. I think there's a lot of things we can do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since we have this like giant mellophone solo at the beginning of the show. That said, I think we should have like that mellophone player either standing in that frame or standing directly behind the frame. But I feel like in the frame, if you can finagle it to where that person can stand inside that frame, that would be the best.
And then have the piano player like where she like right now where you have her placed, kind of.
Yeah. So that way, that what am I trying to say? That way, like, because my concern is if you have the mellophone player in front of that transparent frame, then it's like, why do we have this? Like, it's not doing any effect. If we have that mellophone player behind the frame, we're not featuring that person. They're buried behind a prop. But if we have that person in the frame, that to me that makes more sense. And then it also like because that person is the mirror at that point, right? And then
Right.
then it stands very clearly that the piano player is being reflected by the mellow or something
Right.
to that effect. So
Right.
I'm tentatively going to just do this, and it's really not a big deal. This is also one of those things that you could change on the fly with very little, like
Yeah.
we wouldn't need to rewrite anything if we
Right.
decide that it doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah, we could always kind of redo that too.
Right. And then I'm gonna keep P1 here, and again, because this piano player isn't going to like engage in the drill in any really meaningful fashion, I think we can just keep her right here, and then if you decide we can move her up 2 steps or forward 2 steps or whatever, then you can do that at your discretion. So we'll have the mellophone player on top of that frame, and that'll be good. And then I think we can honestly start moving to page 2. I'm just looking at the score here really quick, just to see. Do you think that 16 counts is fine? So it'll go through the pickups to the mellophone solo. I just feel like that's a natural block or a natural chunk in the music, unless you want that to just be bigger and make that like a 32 count phrase, which would put us, I believe, at from the beginning to a, or I guess it'd be even bigger than that. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Are you talking about before A1?
Yeah, so right now I have beginning to A1 as our first set, and it would be basically a standstill with choreography.
Yeah, that should just be a standstill with nothing going on. So, like, just stand still.
Oh, okay.
Like those first two measures are just a drone. It's not even really supposed to be part of the music in a way. It's just kind of just maybe some narration behind it before or something. And then those two measures at letter A, so A to A1 is just like an intro to pick up the tempo. And then starting right at A1 would be like the first movement from the guard.
Okay.
So, yeah. If you just want to keep page 1 like that chunk, those 4 measures, that's fine.
Well, we'll call that the end of that 4 measures page 2, because page 1,
Okay.
like for rehearsal purposes. So like,
Yeah.
you know, hey, if we're going, hey, let's take the first 16 counts, page 1 to page 2. Then even though nothing's actually happening, you can rehearse that chunk and everybody understands, oh, we're going the top to page 2, and you can just play it. And since you actually have a mellophone there too, so we'll keep this page 1. We'll go to page 2, and this is just a really quick one. So we'll make a text box, and we'll just say page 2, and it's 16 counts, measures 1 through 4. Hold 16.
What if we just did hold 8 instead? So like the drone is just like basically those first 2 measures are nothing. So then when the met starts 5, 6, 7, 8, that's right when the mallets play. Would that be okay?
I mean, we can do it however you'd prefer, but since there are 2 bars, like there are actually 2 bars dedicated to it in the score, I figured for clarity's sake,
no problem.
It'd be better to have it that way.
Yep.
And so there's no choreography in this 16 count chunk.
Right.
Okay. And then here's where I'll probably be making some adjustments. So literally for the next gazillion counts, I just have 8-bar phrases, but I'm sure we're not going to be working in 8 count phrases, so 2-bar phrases.
Yeah. I think like like starting at A1, then when the guards start dancing, we could have like 2 16-count phrases, basically.
Okay.
Or 4 8s. I mean, it's all up to Miranda as far as how she wants to designate those counts with her dancers.
Right. And I'm fine doing it either way, and I think either way, and again, like, depending on what Miranda needs, but I will note too that the more things we break up into 8-count phrases translates into the greater number of sets in the show. I guess I don't know, like, are you still looking at like 60 to 70 sets ish?
I think total? Like in this instance where there's not really any marching going on and it's just nice long phrases here, I don't see why, doing 2 16-count moves from A1 to A2 wouldn't be fine. That way, like when the winds that are behind the mirrors are counting, they don't have to count to 8 4 times. They can just count to 16 twice, I think.
Yeah. And that's,
so why don't we do
that's fine.
Why don't we do 2 16-count moves here or 2 16-count pages from A1 to A2?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Let's do that. Oh, I can probably just delete and delete. I'm realizing that it just makes way more sense to add page tabs as I go rather than trying to pre-construct everything. Oh, whoops. That's what And then we will just drag this bad boy out here and add one more there. And that'll be 3 and 4. Okay. So, page 2. So right now, yeah, we're working in 16 count chunks, which is great. Page 3, 16 counts, measures 5 through 8. Another whole 16. And this is just guard, clarinets, trumpets, dance, mellophone solo, and piano player choreography.
Miranda says she put it into 2 16-count phrases.
Beautiful. And I believe that's how we have it structured. Yep. So that should be good. And we're not going on the move until.
Well, that's debatable too here. If we want to have the winds start doing some things.
I feel like we want to get the winds that are standing behind the mirrors involved after
Right.
these 16 counts.
Oh, starting at A2?
Yeah. And I mean what I mean, like, we don't even need to have them marching, but I think at that point we can start getting some of these people in the front row moving out from directly in front of the mirrors, and then having them, like, maybe their limbs start, like, extending beyond the mirrors, and then we see, like, some sort of inverted choreography coming from behind the mirrors to, like, something, like, kind of cute like that. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, oh, cool, like, they're, it's an extension of the mirror, but there's not actually a mirror there. That's kind of neat or quirky or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Does that make sense? Does that work?
Yeah, I think it's a long time to kind of stand there during this opening, so I think creating some visual movement would be fine.
And the thing you'll have to consider is if you're, so, like, say you're using angles, like arm angles, the people behind the mirrors, if they hold the exact same angles as the people in front of the mirrors, your audience might not see that there's a second arm. I mean, they probably will, since they have a vantage point. But I think it might even be more effective if, say, the people in the front are, extending their arms at a 45-degree vertical, towards the sky. Your people behind them should maybe do, like, a 45-degree vertical towards the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just so it's like, oh, cool. They're doing something different but parallel, or inverse rather.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Totally up to you guys. And like, I guess you can, like, experiment with that in rehearsal too. Once you start adding the choreography and say, oh, this works. This doesn't read. Whatever you need.
Right.
Okay, so page 3 is fine. Page 4, I'm actually, you know what? This probably just makes sense to do this. Oh, no. And then... 9, 12, hold 16. So virtually the exact same thing. And then page 5 is when we'll actually start getting more involved here. And this will be the start of A2. So do you want to keep this in 16 count chunks?
Yeah, let's do that. So okay, so yeah, page 1, page 2, okay, yep. So the two 16 count pages from A1 to A2, yep, are dance. Okay, sounds good.
Sweet. And then, oh, cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, so if we do two 16 count chunks here, that gets us right to A3, and that's when we can start moving from A3 until B. And that get okay, yeah. I kind of like how I like where this is going. And then that gives us from A3 to B and B to C to build up to that climax. Um, and P1, so our piano player, we might have to get a little creative in terms of how we want her to interact. And really, I'd like to know like what I know this is a little premature, but what her dress looks like. Only because it really dictates how much we can do with her. You know, if it's a more of a form fitting dress, or if it's a dress that like, you know, it kind of has like a trail or something on the ground that touches or something
Yeah,
that could get caught in feet. That kind of changes what we can do with her.
yeah.
Like
Now technically, she had some material to play during this horn solo, but that can all be taken out, and then she doesn't need to really start playing until the big hit at letter B.
I think that makes a lot of sense too, because that's to me that indicates more of a big reveal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is your
Yeah.
synth player in the back on the 50? Is that
Yeah.
person playing anything, or can that person just play what the piano player was playing?
The piano player is replicating what the mallets are playing in the
Oh,
back,
okay,
or vice versa. So taking the piano part out of this whole beginning is perfectly fine.
okay, cool,
So I think we can have the piano player start playing right at letter B at the big impact moment. Like she can sit down and then boom, hit the chord.
cool,
That'd
cool.
be fine.
Love it. Sweet. So we have pages 1 through 4, 5, and 6. They're still going to be still, but engaging with the win players. Your A1, B1, and B2. Uh, what's up?
What's that?
Oh, I thought I heard something. Oh, hey, did Miranda get in on the call?
Yeah, I am. Sorry.
What?
I got like
Sweet.
extra feed from the video, so
Oh
it's like
yeah, yeah. If you mute
silly.
the video, it's probably easier on the ears.
Perfect. I will. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Mute the Twitch video.
Hi.
Hey, how's it
Hey,
going? Sorry, I am not. I don't have my webcam set up. I just have my microphone right now. But anyway, what was I saying? We were talking about. Oh, A1, B1, and B2 in this spot might just they might just stand there. Um, if that's fine with you guys, just because it might be a
the the,
little.
the extras that are behind the
Yeah,
the
the
one
the
that are
one
doubled up.
yeah, the ones that are doubled up, just because it might look a little weird to have like three random mirrors that have only or that have two people doing choreography behind it. You
Yeah.
might get.
So are you talking like those people behind those mirrors are like gonna be between the mirrors?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
The people that are standing behind the mirrors and doing the choreography,
Yes,
um, are you thinking they're just like their limbs are just gonna be like poking out from behind,
I
or
think
are they gonna like move their bodies to between the mirrors?
I think the first 16 count phrase here we can experiment with limbs, right? Or maybe like poking heads out at angles, just for whatever reason. And then the second 16 we can actually get them moving out in between the mirrors. Um,
Okay, and yeah, and you're saying that would be from like A2 to A3.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so two 16 count moves between A2 and A3. The first 16, they're like poking out. The next, they're moving. And then at A3, then everybody is starting to kind of conform.
Correct. And you can do some fun stuff too, like in the second set of 16. So from what's going to be page 5 to 6, you could have some fun stuff too, where like the people behind the mirrors take a full step out towards, or like get in between the mirrors, taking a step towards side 2, and then you could have the people in front of the mirrors taking a step towards side 1. So they're doing like contrary motion type of stuff.
Yeah.
So you can do symmetrical and contrary motion.
Gotcha.
Just to really it's one of the things that people love in this activity the most. It's ripples, contrary motion, and stuff of that nature. People like sequential movement. So, yeah. So I think we can kind of write that in here. These are like the easiest sets of drill that I've ever written. Lots of holds with a lot of choreography.
Should we just have them stay there the whole show?
Presenting their show Mirrors on a Field. Page 5. I gotta get my score in front of me again. All right, it's 16 counts. Measures 13 through 16. Hold 16. I feel like this is a little redundant to have both 16 counts and hold 16. Yeah, I feel like this is how I've done it in the past, where I just go hold 16. And there we go. And then, so twin players and mirroring guard. If I call these like group A and group B, does that make sense? So group A being the people in front of the mirrors and group B being the people behind the mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to actually start doing this on the prior pages too. We'll just write this in the key. Actually, we'll write it on the page where all this starts. So that's here. Oh my goodness, Casey. Type group A.
While you're adjusting that, this is a question for Tyler. Are you still wanting the guard to do a dance? Obviously, I missed part of your conversation, but are you still wanting the guard to do something for like 32 counts and then the band mimic it, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, so we have I suppose you can't really see the letters on the screen, but
Really?
the guard is every other mirror.
Okay.
And then the winds are in between on every other mirror. So, and then the guard will do some type of dancing, and then the winds will mimic that.
Okay.
As far as the counts go, I think what were we doing, Casey, here?
I'm sorry, I was like half paying attention while you were talking.
That's fine. Yeah, so you have the dancing written from A1 to A2.
Correct.
Yeah, and then still the people in front of the mirrors, A2 to A3, doing dancing, but the people behind the mirrors just kind of poking out. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, Miranda, do you have all this stuff written?
I roughly for the dance, yes, but
okay.
taught it, so I can do whatever you want me to do.
Okay. So what we were, well, I'll just give me 1 second. I'm gonna write this down quick, and then I'll kind of like give you the roadmap for how this part, or at least how I see this part developing, and you can obviously do whatever you want with it because it's your show. But what I'm thinking is, at the beginning of the show, the first 16 counts are just completely silent, both visual and audio silence, with the exception of like the drone, and then you have the mallet instruments coming in playing quarter notes. Then we get to let me pull up the score. Then we get to letter A1, and that's when I have your guard members start dancing. And if you look on the screen, you'll see the G's. So you have G1, G2, G3, G4, all the way through G8, dancing with. There are 6 wind members here in front of these mirrors as well.
Okay.
So I have the winds, those winds. So it's 3 clarinets and 3 trumpet players. And the reason we pick those instruments is because if they have their instruments in their hand, they're kind of the least cumbersome of the instruments to do dance stuff with. Like you can even sometimes like support someone's weight in that hand if you really wanted to, and still have the instrument in the hand. Like if you caught them, kind of in the crook of the arm or whatever. But anyway, so they're flexible. They can dance pretty liberally if they want to. And that goes on for 2 16-count phrases to letter A2. So that gets us to page 4. And then from page 4 to page 6, which is going to be A2 to A3, we're going to try to engage the members. So group A is everyone in front of the mirrors. Group B is everyone behind the mirrors. And group A is going to start, or rather group B is going to start coming in at this point by, extending limbs, just kind of outside of the mirror, or from behind the mirror. So they're poking their limbs out from behind the mirror, and hopefully like either mirroring or, doing the opposite of what the group A is doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those 16 counts, it's just like limbs and maybe even heads, like poking a head out or something kind of playful like that. And of course, like it's totally up to you to decide like what the mood wants to be at that point. And then from oh yeah, sorry. So that's the first 16 counts of that phrase. So that's going to be measure 13 to 16, and then measure 17 to 20. They're going to do like full body stuff. Group B will be doing full body stuff from behind the mirrors. So they'll actually be like, stepping out from the mirrors and either, doing the same thing as Group A or doing the opposite of Group A. So like, for instance, and we were talking about this earlier, if Group A takes, a full step in between the mirrors towards side 1, then the people behind the mirrors will take like a full step out towards side 2. And so there's kind of like this parallel thing going on. Mm-hmm. That's how I can kind of see this thing developing. Obviously, you have, at the end of the day, you have like 80 counts of, write your choreography. And however you want to do that, you're more than welcome to do that. But I'm just kind of seeing that as a way that you can develop as we start layering more instruments and more notes, on top of this thing before the members actually start marching.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about that? Or
can you give me there's one more time for Group B when they come in?
Yeah, and I'll just make a note on.
Yep.
Okay, so yep, so page 4.
So it'd be like the second half of A2. So we had talked about doing A1 to A2 would be guard, and then A2 to A3 would be winds, right, Miranda?
Yep.
So it'd be like, and so basically A1 to A2 is all dance. It could be the guard doing something and then the winds doing it with them, and then A2, 16 counts, still kind of doing some dancing things, but the members behind the mirrors are going to be like limbs out or whatever. And then the next 16 counts, those 4 measures before A3, then the winds behind the mirrors will kind of start moving a whole lot more, basically.
Okay.
So it won't technically be A1 to A2 guard, A2 to A3 winds dancing.
Okay. I just didn't have this 4 in front of me to look at all of the markings that I made on it.
Yeah.
I started typing and then forgot what I was typing.
Where were we at? This is 17 to 20, I believe. That's actually, I think that's my least favorite part of drill writing is keeping track of measure numbers. That sounds horrible.
It doesn't make it easier that I don't have the measure numbers in there either.
Well, no, because you have them at the beginning of each page. So, like, I always have a good frame of reference, which is fine. I'm just
put them under the measures.
I'm just really bad at, like, I don't know. I'm like, sometimes my brain gets kind of spazzy and I'll, like, accidentally type the wrong number or I'll add one number to it. Even if, like, for instance, I might accidentally type, like, 17 to 21, even though it's definitely a 4-bar phrase. Like, I don't know. But anyway, page 6, hold 16. Oh, yeah, so then group B becomes more... This is going to be kind of weird wording, but windows... Do you understand what I mean when I say windows between the mirrors?
Yeah.
So like there's actually like the space in between the mirrors so that and then does opposite from group A. I don't like how that moved. That'll probably be better. Yeah, I like that. I feel like I need to make a note here too about Oh yeah. We'll just do it this way. Oops, wrong page. I'm gonna go group 5. Or page 5 rather. A1, B1, B2 are not part of group B. They visually silent. So yeah, sorry A1, B1, B2.
Are those baritones?
Yeah, B1 and B2 are baritones.
That's all right.
And really, like, they're only not doing anything for like 32 counts that everybody else is total, because it's just those two 16 count phrases. So that should be. I mean, it kind of sucks, but I mean, like, worse things have happened in the world of the marching arts that doesn't engage everyone. I'll keep this note.
I get off the chat for just a second. I'll be back on in like a minute.
Cool.
No problem.
All right, so that gets us all the way up to A3. In fact, you know what? I should just probably write where these, so that just for your convenience, so that you have reference for A1. Oh, no, this isn't technically A1. No, it is. This is up to A1 in the score. Right? So we'll have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. Yep, that gets us to A1. And then
if you want to put where each score number corresponds to the pages, so like when we go from page 2 to page 3, that's like the start of A1. That might help. So you don't have to like necessarily put them all in.
Sorry, I'm not quite understanding.
So
what you're saying
let's see here, where page 2 is. If you go to page 2,
Yep.
if you just put A1 or measure 1 to 4. Oh, I see.
Yeah. So like this is where A1 starts. Yeah, because it's kind of like a drill.
Yeah,
drill almost does this like opposite of music thing where like the.
If you put A1 on page 3, that make more sense to me though. If you put.
But here's the thing: if I put on page 3, if I say A1, you're already like that page. The image on that page isn't A1. That's halfway through A1. You know what I mean? Because the visual phrase happens on, or clicks on the last count of the prior bar, whereas the musical phrase starts on the next count.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just kind of weird how it works.
Case, I wouldn't even worry about putting in those measure number or letters.
The letters, okay.
I just keep the measure numbers in there, and I'll be able to figure it out.
Totally, that makes sense.
I could go back and put the measure numbers under each measure too. That would help me out too.
Word. All right. The thing is too, if you consider like page 2, technically page 2 is where they would start to, like if you said, hey, set up at A1, say, hey, let's just begin rehearsing at A1. They would set up page 2 to begin rehearsing A1. Does that make sense? But technically, they're standing in the last count of the phrase prior rather than the first count of the musical phrase.
Right.
Technically it's the -1 per se, as opposed to the beginning of the next phrase. Okay, yeah. I think our first 6 sets are good. Now we get into the fun stuff. I'm gonna just make this smaller because we don't need it right now, and it's obstructing my view of the score. Okay, so page 6, that gets us to 20, which is A3, right? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yep. So A3.
Now we want them to march.
Yep. Are you thinking 2 more 16 count phrases? Here's the thing. Because we're behind mirrors and we have to find ways to get them out from behind mirrors, 16 count phrases are really long visual phrases.
Yeah, to do 4 8 count phrases.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it might even break down into, like subsets of 4s in some instances. Like if we're marching around props, like it might be 1 2 3 4 shift, 1 2 3 shift, 1 2 3 shift. You know what I mean? So it might be a thing where it's 2 sets or something, but there's like 3 subsets in there, just so that they understand. Oh, okay, well this is actually one move, but it's a sequential move type of thing.
Yeah.
It just depends on how we want to treat it, I guess.
Right.
But for now, we'll call them 8 count phrases. So this would get us to letter B. From 7, 8, 9, and 10 gets us to B. I believe. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's 8 count phrase.
My hope. Hi.
Count phrase.
You didn't hear.
I'm sorry, I can't. I can barely hear you, Miranda. What was that?
Oh, my husband just walked in and wanted to tell Tyler hello.
Oh. Hi.
He said I made it more awkward than it needs to be. Carry on.
Do we want them at the end of this choreography at page 5 to be standing in between the mirrors?
Yeah, we could do that.
We could even do it to where all the people who are not doubled up are standing behind them, are standing in between the mirrors, and then we just have the people who are doubled up, so A1, B1, B2, still behind the mirrors, and then they just come out in a sequence type of thing behind everybody else, just so that like we can set them up in page 5 to. So we basically, what would happen is the choreography will land them on splitting the mirrors, and then yeah, and then from there they can just proceed a little more naturally to their next set without having to have like some weird like 2-step, you know, shuffle before they actually start moving to their next set.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, let's do that. We're gonna make that happen. Oh, I just need the push tool. I need the old. Do you have a preference which way they end? Whether it's towards side 1 or towards side 2, left or right?
Well, my question is, how are we going to get those 3 extras into the form?
They'll just have to do some sort of sequential something behind it. Like we'll have to work in a subset for them, I think, is all it'll have to be. So we'll have like page 5A or page 6A, whatever it is, that just it's, hey, this is a subset for A1, B1, and B2. You take, 2 steps towards whatever side or whatever. Oh, this is how this probably should work. Now that I'm thinking about it, no, not you. You will take 2 steps this way, and then. So you might have to do some mirrored motion to get them in these spots, if that makes sense. To where the people on side 1 take 2 steps, or end the choreography 2 steps towards the 50, and then the people on side 2 will have to do the opposite, so that they end 2 steps towards the 50 on their side.
Mm-hmm.
So that, because what I'm kind of envisioning is maybe some sort of funnel that gets them out in front of the mirrors. Does that make sense? To where they kind of. I'm gonna write it, and we'll see. We'll see if it works.
Yeah, you do it.
All right. So they will end here. They will end here, and we still have our B1 and B2 behind the mirrors. And actually, we can even just say B1 and B2 should, take the spot of, because they're hidden, they can kind of do what they want back there. And we can say, I'm part of group B.
Could you get B1 and B2 like down in the same right now in the same row as everybody else?
That's what I'm planning on doing.
So like B2 would be 2 steps inside the 30, and then or B1 and B2 would be 2 steps outside the 30. And then can't A1 just go 2 steps inside the 30? So they're all in a straight line? That would make one less person. And you do what you were thinking.
Okay. What I'm thinking at is actually, so in the next set, I'll keep A1, B1, and B2 where they're at for right now. And then for the next set, I'm going to have these members. Sorry, this might just take a little bit of thought and maneuvering here. Okay, I like where they're standing here for 5. So for 6... Oh, poop. That's not what I wanted. I did this a set too early. Which is no problem. So we'll just do that. And just do that. Sorry, that was supposed to happen at set 6. So they're going to end set 6. What have I written? Okay, yeah, that's fine. So the choreography will land these people here, like so. And then once we get to 7, there are a couple ways we can do this. We can either have the choreography land them on the same front to back as the mirrors, in which case we can all do all of this at an 8 to 5, or we can have them the choreography like where they are front to back, so still behind the mirrors but only by like a step, and that would mean that they'll have to take a slightly bigger than an 8 to 5. I think we just need to do it at an 8 to 5 now that I'm thinking about it. So page 6.
Can we just say they're 2 steps behind, and then the people in front of the mirrors are 2 steps in front of the mirrors instead of the 1 steps?
So you're saying they should be 2 steps behind instead of 1?
Yeah, 2 steps behind, and then the people in front are 2 steps in front of the mirrors.
Yeah, we can do that. That's not a problem.
For ease of drill.
If they're 2 steps behind, 2 steps behind shouldn't actually reveal too much.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like I'm just concerned that like especially since some are doubled up, I don't want to like all of a sudden we have people who are 3 to 4 steps behind the mirrors, and then the audience just sees them because they're getting too far away from the mirrors.
Yeah, well then let's keep them where they're at.
Let's try this really quick.
What about when they reveal they're even with the mirrors, and then the people that are actually in front of the mirrors, group A or whatever we call them, are 2 steps in front, so they're still at a 2-step interval?
Yeah. So here's what I'm thinking is this whole group will end their choreography on the same front to back as the mirrors.
Sure.
And then the group A people, who I'm about to adjust here too. Didn't quite get the middle of that. Okay. Come on. Snag you guys without snagging the rest of the crew. And then we can end their choreography just 1 more step further front field, maybe 2 steps even. 2 steps just might not be enough space. At this point, I'm just going to move the piano player towards the piano. Oh, whoops. I don't want that looping anymore. Okay. So, bear with me. We can always go back and like massage this a little bit too.
I think we should keep that front row just where they're at, 2 steps in front of the mirrors. I think we should just have them start the show 2 steps in front of the mirrors. Because if they're 1 step, then they're going to be like hitting the mirror if they do any like.
Yeah, that's true.
And then then when the people behind the mirrors come out, then they're still 2 steps front to back from each other in a way.
Right. Just making sure that, yeah. Okay. So that translated all the way through. Good. Good, good, good.
Yeah, that looks better.
And then this is all choreography that over 16 counts lands them between 1 or 2 steps off of where they started. And that should work because that's a very, very short distance to move over the course of 16 counts. So.
Yeah, so let's keep that front row just 2 steps.
Yeah.
Instead of having them. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Alrighty.
You keep trucking.
I'll truck along.
I'm back.
I'm thinking about going a slightly different direction than I was prior. Because the just the difficulty with this is the um if I start moving everyone out in front of the mirrors, we're condensing the entire ensemble in front of the mirrors. So they have literally just 12 steps front to back to work with, and that's actually probably even less because we can't smash them into a piano. Um, so I'm thinking that we need to utilize some of the space behind the mirrors before we actually, because we don't want to be working with them for like 64 counts or more, um, and have them all trying to use 64 counts in a 12 step area. So I'm thinking about.
What 64 counts are you?
I'm just talking like from count 80, so from where they actually start moving until really
A3?
until really to the hold at um right before C.
Right before C.
So it'd be like measure 36, I think, if I'm reading that number correctly. Because I'm assuming that they're going to be, standing still for the that last chord at the end, right?
I imagine them standing still at letter B.
Oh, at letter B, even.
At the big hit.
Okay. I had a little bit different interpretation there, but that's if you want them standing still, they totally can be.
Yeah, I'd like them to stand still at letter B, so then that whole A3 to letter B, they can just do some intricate drill work in front of the mirrors. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I was just thinking that at B, like, because I pictured some like arc work happening, where we like kind of flex and bow these arcs, and then they eventually turn into a company front at the at letter C, where it locks, or not at sorry at 4 before C, so measure 36, when they actually hit that very last chord, and then like that company front locks on the chord.
Yeah, I imagine
lock.
a halt. I imagine a halt at letter B for like those first 5 measures, and then if 2 measures before that chord, doing an 8 count move into some type of other form that they can lock into.
Okay.
And maybe they could do some like body work during at letter B.
You're envisioning the halt for everyone, including guard?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like letter B for 5 measures. Ba da 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 da. Ba da 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 da. And then move 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the final chord.
Okay.
And technically, if we wanted, the guard could just stay where they are the whole time.
Okay, we have to do like an equipment. It says strategically place the equipment.
Yeah, I was thinking behind the mirrors, and then they could go grab them before.
Okay.
The next section, or like, well, do we have anything going on during the piano solo?
At C, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I thought you had said you wanted nothing to be going on.
Right.
I can put whatever you want in.
I don't like that at all.
But I hadn't planned on anything from C to D, and then starting at D, rifles.
I'm almost wondering if we should add something visually in at letter C during that long piano solo. So like maybe after letter B, or like right at letter C, they go get their rifles. You got rifles, you said?
Yep.
Like they grab their rifles from behind the mirrors and do some just maybe not even rifle work, but maybe some more dance choreography with the rifles. And I guess maybe they could spin it a little bit, but then yeah, I don't know.
Okay. I'll think about it. Think about what I can do, and then can I always just send you a video of what I was thinking? You can let me know if that goes with what you're thinking or not.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Um. So Miranda, then where do you want the rifle? Like the actual equipment. Where would you like that staged so that I can get the guard where they need to be to pick it up in time?
Well, I was thinking. Okay, so the mirrors. First of all, I have to think about for the mirrors. Are they staying at the spot that they're at? Like, when are they getting moved?
We're gonna move them during the piano solo.
Okay. What I was originally
So I
thinking
guess the guard could come forward to the front sideline and pick up their rifles or something.
that would probably that's what I had in my brain, like peeling off after the flags because flags go from B to C.
Right.
Uh, could we have the flags set um, in front of the mirror, so in front of where they're dancing
Yeah.
at B, and they pick them up at B and do B to C,
Yeah.
and then peeling off to the front um, during the piano solo.
Oh, that's a good idea. I think we got to do something visually during the piano solo. I don't mind that. Yeah, like peeling off to the front for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Almost maybe leaving one of the guard members out there after everybody peels off to like continue to do something. Maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Or even like peeling off towards the piano player and like going towards her in a way
Could
during the
we?
piano solo.
So if I'm looking at this correctly, I can't really see the letters and numbers and stuff. On the left side, that's where the guard is.
No,
Together.
they're staggered in between. So like the very end mirrors
Okay.
are a guard, and then skip a mirror, and then the other. So there's 8 total. So you see the black mirror?
Yep. Got it.
Yeah, there's a guard next to each of those, and then they skip a mirror which is on the 45. So the guard members are on the mirrors that are all splitting the yard lines.
Okay. Um.
So they're like in between the wind members in a way.
Could we? It'd just be a long ways if the guard were like cross paths and the left ones go to the right side and the right ones go to the left side. But
Yeah, we don't want to do that. So I just think come straight forward to grab their stuff.
okay.
So Miranda, what's the guard doing at letter B? You had mentioned like either are they finishing their flag, or are they grabbing flags at B, or what's happening?
They're grabbing flags right before B,
Okay,
and
okay.
you just see it's all flag work.
Um, and so how many counts do they need to grab those flags?
4.
Probably just 4.
Yeah. We could do like a simple arm movement to grab the flags and stand up because they
Yeah, we
start.
could just incorporate that into the work, and then those 4 counts. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fine.
So I'm just gonna make a note here at page 9 that guard peels off to grab flags.
No, they're not going anywhere to grab the flags. They just be like in front of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then at C we peel off.
So let's just start with the guard with the flags in front of the mirrors and the guard in front of the mirrors. So then they just stay there the whole time. Or not the whole time, but maybe they just are able to get back to that spot before letter B.
That
So
sounds good.
So then at letter B, the guard are actually in front of the mirrors doing the flag work, but the winds are maybe like 4 steps in front, or I mean 4 steps behind the front sideline or something, or whatnot. Or heck, the guard could just stay there if they wanted. They won't even have to do any work or any moving, and we could just have the wind players moving, and the guard can just continue to dance in a way.
So do you just want guard in front of mirrors for really up until the end of this first phrase, up until C? Is that what you're
I
saying?
mean, yeah, technically that could happen, yeah. And then all the wind players would be in front of them, say 8 steps in front of the guard, or 4 steps behind the sideline in a way.
Okay. So we need to find an elegant way to get all of the wind members through, like passing through the guard, unless we want to play the game of moving them like around the mirrors and in front of the guard.
So this front row, can they, let's see here, can they still be 2 steps in front of the mirrors at this point? Or what page are we on here?
Well, okay, so our choreography ends at like page 6. This is the count before we start moving. So page like we've taken like a couple steps through choreography to get us to this spot right here. But like the actual movement starts.
Right.
And again, these are 8 count phrases. We can make these bigger or smaller if we want to.
But what
right
I'm
now,
asking is this front row. What do we call them? Group A.
Yeah, Group A. The Group A wins.
Can they still be 2 steps in front of the mirrors right here instead of 4 like you have them?
Yeah, we can do that.
So yeah, those counts before A3 where the Group B gets in between the mirrors, that's fine, but just keep this front row 2 steps here.
Come on, there we go. Sorry, I'm talking to my tools, not to you. Okay. So you want, and it should show up here for you in a second. I have the Group A wins staggered at 2 steps in front of the mirrors, as opposed to the 4 that the guard is. And do you want the guard in line with the Group A wins yet?
Just have all Group A. Just have Group A stay where they're at the whole beginning up to A3. 2 steps in front of the mirrors.
Okay. Do you want that wins and guard, or just the Group A wins?
Yeah, wins and guard.
Oops.
And then starting at A3, can we have all the wins just start marching forward? Do like an 8 count move forward?
Yeah, we can do that. And then we'll just have to write a subset in for A1, B1, B2.
Yeah, it's like, how do we get those guys in the mix too?
Okay.
Okay, so right now, yeah, this brings us to letter A3, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so then this is A3 right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Page 6 is the beginning of A3. Yes.
Okay, so now at this point, can the wind members like push forward? Say, I don't know, just come forward, but the guards stay in front of the mirrors?
Yeah. It might look a little weird because, well, it'll look a little weird because we'll have some interval issues between the Group A wins and the Group B wins, because once we take the guard out of that shape, we'll have some people at a 2-step side to side and some at a 4.
The win members?
Yeah. So like for instance, so let's just say set 7 here. Let's say we push. It says an 8 count phrase. We'll move them eight counts forward at an 8 to 5. Oops, wrong tool. So my group B wins. We'll push forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then group A wins 3, 4, 5, 6, and you guys. So this is what that's what our spacing. Well, I guess that puts us in trios, and I don't hate that. So the transition, then the first 8 counts would be.
Yeah, like that, and then they could do like some like I don't know, spinning around the center person or something.
With some little
I
pinwheels.
don't know.
We could do pinwheels.
Or I don't know. They could just any intricate marching here while they're not playing. But what do we do with those people behind the mirrors?
That's true. We got to get them in here as well. These guys are tied to that form. That's funny.
Just have them stay there the whole time, the whole show.
Just yeah. Surprise! We actually have 3 more marching members than you saw the entire show. Man, I wish we could. I'm wondering. this might require some greater revisions, but I noticed that we have another trio here, but they're on opposite sides of the field.
Right.
I'm wondering if we can just move, we can just weight all of our extra people to one side of the field, and then find a way to put them in a trio here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, it might even require that these guys don't just move don't just push straight forward, so that we can find a space for another trio, but. Also, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it would also upset the balance of the trios a little bit. So we would have right now we have 7 trios. This would be the 8th. So we would just have to put them on opposite sides of the 50. I guess that's not a big deal. So like just for the sake of argument, we can undo any of this that we need to. They're on a 2-step side to side, so we'd put them here, and obviously that's a little crazy cakes, but I'm envisioning then it would look like, and that's only a 4-step adjustment side to side. So, if you just give it a minute here, it should show up, and we would have 8 trios, 4 on either side of the 50. The only obstacle to this is we might have people running into guard members, even if we adjust the.
Yeah.
And these pinwheels wouldn't be too big of a deal. The only.
We don't have to do pinwheels, but I
think pinwheels are fine.
I was just thinking a way to get all the people in front of the mirrors here and still far enough away from the guard. And remember, we can explore space in front of the sideline too, since there's no pit.
Right.
We just have to go outside of the.
I kind of, for this particular, if we're gonna maintain a form similar to this, I want to avoid that just a little bit, just because we do have a piano on the 50, and I don't want the trios that are closest to the piano to start crowding the space of that piano.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um. So let me drop a suggestion on you quick. So, um,
I mean, those three people could like they don't necessarily have to be in front of the mirrors too. Maybe they just like stay behind
right.
the mirrors, like behind the mellophone player or something, like in an arc or um, I don't know. They don't have to come in front of the mirrors, and then once we start moving the mirrors, then we can kind of get them back into the show.
That might be a way that we could incorporate them here. So, what the winds come in at B.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that gives us 8, 16. Well, one. So set 10.
Oh, I see.
Set
Hold
10
on
is
now.
okay.
Do you have the mellophone player part of this too?
Yup. That's not a thing, huh?
We don't want to have her moving.
Right.
We need to
Right.
have her stay there, so there needs
Yep.
to be an empty space there.
Yep.
So that trio will just not be a trio.
Yeah, it'll just be a duo. We can even just like have a ghost trio where they actually like if we're doing pinwheels, they can just rotate around an invisible axis. Yeah, that's fine. That shouldn't be an issue. Oh crap! I did it at the wrong point though. Undo and undo. We need that way earlier because it's at 7 that happens. So we'll just move you. Okay. Okay. Cool. So I might go off stream here for a while and just doodle with some stuff here, and then
Yep.
once I have kind of a little more of a complete look, I'll send you a video, and then tell me what you think at that point.
Sure.
And then we can kind of decide another time that if there are other like big transition points we want to talk about, we can go on stream and do some more kind of collaborative stuff.
Yep.
But I just kind of want to power through some of this stuff and then see if I can come up with something, some elegant solution here to some of these little things.
Yeah.
Cool.
One more thing. Can we move the front ensemble or the backfield people to being right on
On the hash.
on the hash? And then I don't know if you can get rid of that black
Oh yeah, I can get rid of
bar
that.
back there.
This is easy.
And then you might want to move them just a little bit closer to each other. I kind of tried to measure it out, but those speakers will be like splitting the 40 and 40, or the edge of it will just be on the splitting the 40 and 45.
Okay. Dumb thing. Oh, that's my problem. I think. That's it. Okay. So we just delete it. Oops. Piss. Delete you at the beginning of the show. There you are. And then you're just no longer there. And then... Oh, that's kind of annoying. I can't just snap those. Okay, I'm sorry. And you said something about how you...
Yeah, I kind of measured it out. Yeah, right there is. So if the instruments just need to be a little bit tighter.
Sure. But we want these exactly on that hash.
Yeah, I think if we put them right on the hash.
So something like that. I know that's not perfect spacing. I can fix that too, but
Oh, that looks good.
okay. Cool.
That one's a little bit too far in.
Yeah. Well,
that speaker.
Which one? The left.
The one on the right side, make it the same as the one on the left. So the edge of the speaker is just touching
Splitting.
the splitting.
Cool.
Basically, it might not even quite be that far out, but.
And then I have, if we're mirroring it off of that side, then this needs to be on the yard line, and everything else is fine. So that should be the right spacing then. We have an instrument on splitting. I mean, basically they're at 4 steps, with the exception of the speakers, which are at a 2-step, or a 3-step rather, side to side.
Yeah, that looks fine right there.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna go off stream here, and we'll hammer out some of these details, and then I'll report back to you a little bit later.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm free all day, so.
Cool.
All right, catch you later.
All right, sounds good, man. See you later.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, see you, Miranda.
Hi.
Bye, team.